Hi everybody, welcome to current events for Friday, December 11th. Sorry about that. So we're going to be reading the Driftless Journal from Tuesday the 8th and the Public Opinion from Thursday the 10th. Let's get started with the Driftless Journal. Okay. Just 50 cents a pop. Recycled gift bags aid kids in need. That's on the front page. Let's look at that. You know that one family member who doesn't like throwing away wrapping papers and bows? Lynn Anderson admits she's that person. But Anderson, owner of the Turquoise Tomato gift shop in Spring Grove, repurposes gift wrapping at a completely different level, and many children around the Midwest are grateful. I just don't like seeing people throwing things like wrapping paper, bows, and those expensive gift bags in the garbage, Anderson said. When I opened up my store, I saw people outside my family doing the same thing. People are throwing away those gift bags, and I wondered what to do about it. The well-traveled Anderson, who lived in California, Arizona, Minneapolis, and Brazil before returning to Spring Grove, decided to let as many people as possible know that she would be happy to take those gift bags off their hands and recycle them. Every one of those bags, whatever size they are, I sell for 50 cents. I take that 50 cents and put the money into a cup. When I get enough money in the cup, I use it to buy a gift for a child who might need something good to happen in their life. Anderson finds children to give gifts to in different ways. For example, the last child she sent a gift to lives in Maple Grove, Minnesota, but his parents happened to come into her shop and shared their story. This sweet little boy has a terrible disease that they have to get treated at Mayo Clinic in Rochester. It has something to do with his lungs and makes breathing difficult for him. His parents found out that I take donations for Native American children on reservations in South Dakota, so they brought some items for me to give away. Turns out it was their son who used the money to buy things for me to take to the children in South Dakota, so I wanted to do something nice for him. He's an LA Dodger fan, so I used the money from the gift bags to buy him a Dodgers sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a couple of face masks, and a bag with baseballs on it. The Dodgers won the World Series this year, so the timing was perfect. That's awesome. What a great idea. Okay. The walk-on cheerleading team has won the Class 2A championship. Congratulations to them. Let's see. Governor Reynolds has announced a COVID-19 arts and cultural recovery program. That's probably long overdue. Governor Kim Reynolds and the Iowa Department of Cultural Affairs announced the launch of an Iowa Arts and Cultural Recovery Program. It's now accepting applicants. The statewide grant program provides short-term relief to arts venues, cultural organizations, and creative workers who have lost significant business or income due to the pandemic. Well, it's about time. Those people have been suffering. Thankfully, they've done something about it. All right. What else have we got? Ossie Haugen announces 2 new co-directors of nursing. I think you've already met them, but in case you haven't, we've got their photos here. I'll read that because it's us. Let's see. Ossie Haugen Senior Services of Decorah has named Diana Sabalik, RN, and Stephanie Marnin, RN, as new co-directors of nursing, DON. Sabalik has been serving as interim DON at Ossie Haugen, and Marnin joined the team in November. The co-DON position is a new approach to our leadership, says Orson Bowder, Ossie Haugen administrator. We're constantly working to innovate how to meet the growing and diverse demands of our community today and into the future, and shared this position will provide 2 strong nurses to lead our staff. Well, that's a good thing. And I'm sure you've already seen Stephanie around the halls. Let's see. Winneshiek Medical Center is offering a curbside pickup Christmas dinner. That's good. There's a fundraiser in progress for award-winning musician Vicky Price. She is recovering from thyroid cancer and hoping to get back on tour. So here's her picture. Let's see. The depot donation supports the Art House Community Dye Garden. What is a community dye garden? Let's find out. Art House, a community nonprofit organization providing an art gallery, shop, and studio, has received $1,000 from the depot outlet to do what? The Community Natural Dye Garden will be located west of the Art House's building at 107 West Broadway. It's projected to be 10 feet by 36 feet and surrounded by a cattle grate-style fence and gate. A concrete path will wind through the garden, leading to a recycled plastic bench. To sustainably provide water for the garden, a homemade rain barrel will be constructed for rainwater harvesting. The dye garden will not only provide Art House with many course offering possibilities such as solar dyeing, HAPA-Zone, bundle dyeing, immersion dyeing, dyeing yarn, and dyeing foods, but will also provide various opportunities for community use. The garden will be open to the community for education, learning, harvesting, exploring, and reflection. So they're partnering with Seed Savers, and they are going to generously donate seeds to the Community Natural Dye Garden. After reading this, I still don't understand what it is. We'll have to look for more information on that one. To me, I would think it would be like they're going to grow stuff to use to dye things. That's what I'm thinking, but it doesn't actually say that here. Okay. COVID Recovery Iowa is offering virtual Santa visits. The Recovery Iowa has launched free virtual Santa visits for the holidays. They're safe and convenient and an ideal alternative as Iowans find new ways to honor holiday traditions during the pandemic. The 15-minute virtual Santa visits are available through Tuesday, December 22nd. Visit the COVID Recovery Iowa Facebook page to schedule a visit. That's pretty cool. That's really nice that you can do an online visit with Santa. All right. Electric vehicle project charges into Northeast Iowa. Do you do a lot of driving in your life to work, to school, to shop, to recreate? Does it feel like the cost of fuel is a burden? And do you wish there were a way of saving a buck? While walking, biking, and public transport are fantastic options for folks with flexibility in making transportation choices, sometimes logistics keep others reliant upon a driving lifestyle. If this is your situation, good news is at hand. Electric vehicles are up and coming in Iowa, and with this driving option containing a cheaper and potentially cleaner fuel, electricity becomes the star of the show and gasoline takes a back seat. For rural commuters, cost savings from owning an electric vehicle begin to add up. According to a July 2020 Clean Cities Alternative Fuel Price Report, between January 2011 and July 2020, the average price of gasoline was $2.89 a gallon, while the average price of electricity was only $1.25. What does this mean for your pocketbook? The U.S. Department of Energy provides a tool for comparing operating costs of vehicles. Electric vehicles provide other benefits besides fuel cost savings. They generally require less maintenance, service, and repair than their internal combustion engine counterparts, and they can significantly reduce the vehicle emissions, especially if electricity is derived from renewables, critical to combating climate change. Seeing the writing on the wall, vehicle manufacturers are taking action by introducing new and more diverse electric vehicle models. Drivers can choose from hybrid electric vehicles or battery electric vehicles and a variety of passenger types, including sedans, wagons, SUVs, and pickups. I didn't know you could get an electric pickup. Wow. I bet that takes a while to charge. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Better together. Decora boutiques combine in one location. Tiffany Murphy, the owner of Gracie's Boutique, and Brianne Huizenkamp, owner of Broken Leather Boutique and Leather Goods, have a history of shared ideas. While both downtown businesses originated in separate locations, we've often reached out to each other for advice and ideas in the past few years. During one of those conversations last summer, Brianne mentioned she was looking for a larger space. I mentioned that I had extra space, and the idea took off from there. And check it out. Now they're going to have their boutique together. It'll probably be more fun, and they'll save money. Good for them. The 2021 Iowa State Fair tickets are on sale now. I bet we'll get to go. I bet we'll all be vaccinated by then, and it'll happen. So that would be good. I'm sure everybody would like to go to the fair. Have my fingers crossed. Okay, there's no Echoes of the Past in this Driftless journal. What? How did that happen? Aha! I breezed right past it. Sorry. Okay, Echoes of the Past. Winneshiek and Almaquis men had a tussle with robbers in Chicago. Wow. 100 years ago, there was a holdup in Chicago restaurant where Winneshiek and Almaquis men had a tussle with the robbers, according to the information available. While in Chicago with livestock last week, George Waters had an experience with a gang of strong-arm holdups, which made his trip there somewhat exciting. Arriving in Chicago with several other livestock shoppers at 2 o'clock in the morning, they all went to a restaurant near the stockyards. After seating themselves at a table, the gang of strong-arm artists commenced a ruction in the center of the place and proceeded to knock them down and go through the patrons as fast as possible. Knocking a fellow down, they would frisk his clothes in a jiffy and meet up with the next one. They used only heavy coffee cups as weapons. What? But their aim was fair, and there was plenty of flying china at times in the place. George met up with one of them with a stiff left hook. He handed the one a few more for good measure, but received a broken finger in the deal. It wasn't long before the police arrived, but they had all made their escape. The only one of the stockmen to lose his money was a shipper named Bullard from over around Ocean, who was knocked down and frisked of his roll. Besides Waters and Bullard, Arthur Crane of Decorah, 2 Huxell brothers from Charles City, Pat Burns of Lawler, and several others were in the place at the time of the robbery. Wow, that's a real story to tell. The Ingersoll Watch Company. For some time now, the big clock on the courthouse tower here has been running wild, so to speak. It's running about 10 minutes more ahead of time than the rest of the city and has confused numerous people. Since the post and whistle was discontinued a while back, the time has been a little hard to keep track of, it seems. The Commercial Club has voted to procure a modern Western Union clock and have it installed in the telephone office, so correct time will be announced, especially at the tour hour when the whistle at the Decorah City Hall blows. Okay. Clarence Christian and Gus Shegrud sold their farm, the former Skoll Farm in Glenwood Township, to Lawrence Steele of Burr Oak. The farm has 100 acres and sold for $140 an acre. 2 women were elected constables over in Almaquis County at a recent election, namely Mrs. F. Saluska in French Creek and Kate McGuire over in Lafayette Township. Whether they are qualified remains to be seen. That sounds kind of sexist, but it's 100 years ago today. About the most thrilling news event has transpired in nearby Harmony, Minnesota lately. was the receipt of 2 carloads of hard coal, which arrived there last Friday morning. The welcome shipment was met by a large delegation and the Harmony Band. The band cut loose with "There'll Be a Hot Time on the Town Tonight." That sounds like a good song. All right. 90 years ago, the Luther College Concert Band will travel to Spring Grove next Sunday to play a concert at the high school auditorium. H.B. Montgomery of this city is in Chicago this week for the purpose of getting more information about concrete swimming pools. He plans to construct one in Decorah next year. Mrs. Montgomery and their son accompanied him on the trip. George Ann, the 4-year-old daughter of Mr. and Mrs. George Johnson of this city, had a narrow escape from serious injury in the first coasting accident of the winter season. She was coasting from the lawn of her parents' home into the street and ran into a passing auto, sustaining a severe cut on her head. It is a good reminder for both coasters and motorists to exercise the greatest possible care to prevent these kinds of accidents. That's interesting. Coasters and motorists instead of sledders and drivers. All right. The payment of $50 reward, which the Winneshiek County Farm Bureau offers for information leading to the arrest and conviction of persons stealing property from paid Farm Bureau members, has been authorized by the local board of directors. Rowley Sheets of Decorah Township was responsible for furnishing information on a local man who was convicted of stealing a hog from Walter Gross, who is a paid Farm Bureau member. Mr. Sheets is to be congratulated for helping put another thief where he will not steal any more property for the time being. All right, that's going to be it for the Driftless Journal. Let's turn our attention to the Decorah Public Opinion. And on the front page, we have Christmas tree sales remain evergreen and then some. Here's a picture of Christmas trees. All right. There is a bright spot in this Christmas of COVID-19, and that spot is a vibrant green. While retailers of many stripes struggle to make a profit, sellers of real Christmas trees, those once thriving beauties that smell amazing and sport actual needles, are having one of their best seasons in recent memory. Many tree farms across the country are reporting record sales, and to verify that trend, we turn to area vendors. Jim Bappy of Holiday Pine said tree sales are up about 25% from last year. We're not finished with the season, but that's about where we are at right now. We're seeing a real uptick in people who've never bought a real tree before, as well as folks who've bought artificial trees for many years and are ready to get back to the real thing. Well, you might as well if you're spending all day in your house, right? Plenty of time to water the tree. Let's see. Scarves in the Park is in its 6th season. That is a really great thing. Check it out. There's scarves and mittens and hats, and they are just hanging them in trees on Water Street, in the little park there. And 2,200 scarves, hats, mittens, and gloves can warm plenty of humans head to toe. That's what happened last winter through Decorah Scarves in the Park. Founded by Stephen Nelson, the organization has provided winter items to individuals at no charge since 2015. Now, in its 6th winter, Scarves in the Park recently partnered with Fox River Mills of Oelwein, resulting in 168 pairs of new winter socks. That's awesome. Okay. The county supervisors get an update on COVID-19 vaccine and a spike in positive cases. The first doses of the COVID-19 vaccine will be shipped to Winneshiek County following a Thursday, December 10th meeting of the Food and Drug Administration. That was the bright spot in the weekly update given by Public Health Director Krista Vandenbrink. The FDA will meet with Pfizer on Thursday and Moderna on Thursday, It's expected they'll grant emergency approval for the vaccine at those meetings. As noted in last week's meeting, Vandenbrink said residents and staff at long-term care facilities will be on the priority list to receive the vaccine. That's us. Employees of CVS and Walgreens pharmacies will visit long-term care facilities to administer the vaccine. When Chairman John Logson asked if the local pharmacies will handle the vaccine at all, Vandenbrink said no. While it remains unclear when and how members of the general public will be vaccinated, Vandenbrink said the promise of immunization makes things look brighter. She was less enthused about the recent spike in positive cases in COVID-19 virus. These positives, still rolling in since the Thursday Thanksgiving holiday, have pushed the county's weekly total to 137. These are the earliest positives we'll see as a result of the holiday. With 14-day incubation day period of the virus, I expect to see more in the days ahead. That's not good news, but the good news is pretty soon we'll have a vaccine here, and that'll be great. Okay. Let's see. Darkness is the Soul's Workshop. This is from Reverend Seth Robinson from the Decorah Congregational UCC. Here's his photo. I think he's relatively new. Waiting and wintering when all I want is Christmas. It was nearly over before it began. No sooner did our congregation, like many others, mark the beginning of Advent 2 Sundays ago than my family and I started getting our Christmas on. We drove by the holiday lights display at Pulpit Rock Campground, resolving to tame the tangled string of lights in our basement. We hatched plans to collect a specimen of forest and cozy up our living room with it. The palette of my social media feed changed as if it had overheard. The roasted browns and starchy yellows receded, and earthy evergreens and jolly reds burst onto the scene. Bring it on, I thought. Part of me feels like I needed the twinkling lights and nutmeg-infused smells of Christmas more than ever this year. That part of me would be content with Christmas coming now and lasting all December long. I mean, in 2020, Advent strikes me as being a bit on the nose. Who needs a liturgical season of watchful anticipation steeped in holy darkness after the grim grind of this impossibly traumatic year? Why not collapse our Advent calendars, rating them for their chocolates and cranking up some holly jolly hope on the radio? The seasons of the Christian year are a product of human choices. Can't we just choose not to bother this year? At the same time, my gut told me then that not bothering with Advent would somehow silence the wiser angels of my nature. It wasn't until I began reading the book Wintering, The Power and Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times by Catherine May that I understood why. May challenges us to practice wintering, slowing down, giving ourselves permission to grieve, and being unproductive on purpose as cold, dark days inevitably creep in. That can mean dropping to-dos, getting enough sleep, and letting our spare time lengthen. These countercultural acts may not always be feasible, though they are possible and even natural, that is, rooted in the rhythms of nature. Trees, for example, relinquish their leaves while readying next spring's buds, and reptiles shed their skin, exposing nerve endings as they prepare to regenerate the boundary where they end and the world begins. If this year has exposed your nerve endings and mine, leaving us raw and vulnerable, it may be that winter arrives like an angel to announce good and really hard news. New life emerges when we let go of the old and linger in the lengthening dark. We may need to take gentler and more devoted care of ourselves and receive prompter and more intimate care from others. We may need to sit in the stillness of darkened hours long enough to discern what parts of our daylit selves are crying out for rest and release and resorting. Otherwise, as May notes, our old skin might just harden around us. Echoing nature's rhythms, the prologue to the Gospel of John proclaims that when new life comes into the world, it shines within the darkness. While that light is not overcome, neither is the darkness. Because it seems darkness is the soul's workshop. Here we can choose to winter and wait, to rework where we end the world begins, to prepare room for hope to regenerate, real through unseen, though unseen. Maybe that is when Christmas truly comes. All right. I think that was a very nice idea, that we should slow down. It's hard to slow down in America, though, isn't it? Okay. Let's see. Keep on going to the next thing. Let's see. We do have an obituary to read for Mabel Cox, who was a resident here and passed away. So I'm going to read that now. Here's her photo. You remember seeing Mabel around. She was here quite some time and in the assisted living before she came here. So Mabel F. Cox, age 99, of Decorah, died Sunday, December 6, 2020 at Assihaugen Senior Services in Decorah. A private family graveside service will be held at Phelps Cemetery in Decorah in the spring of 2021. Mabel Frances Kessel Cox was born July 1st in Waukon, the daughter of Bessie Thornton and Andrew Kessel. She attended Decorah schools, graduating from Decorah High School in 1940. May 5, 1945, she was united in marriage to Roy V. Cox in LaGrange, Illinois. Mabel and Roy both worked for General Motors in LaGrange, Illinois, retiring in 1969. They moved to Osage Beach, Missouri, Lake of the Ozarks, where they enjoyed fishing, boating, and the many birds and animals in the area. Her husband died April 29, 1994. After his death, Mabel moved back to Decorah. She moved into Assihaugen Assisted Living July of 2015. She was a member of the First United Methodist Church and belonged to Mary Martha Circle. Mabel was a member of the Minowa Rug Guild, making many beautiful hooked rug pieces. She was preceded in death by her parents, her husband, two sisters, Helen Kessel and Margaret Bierke, and two brothers, Robert Kessel and Kenneth Kessel. She is survived by nieces and nephews. We will miss Mabel. She was a fun lady. All right. So that was the only obituary. Are there echoes of the past? Oh, there are. All right. Well, that was the only obituary for someone who had lived here, but there are quite a few obituaries. Okay. 1940, 80 years ago. A train hit a car over at Calmer at 2:30 a.m. the other morning. Albert Meyer, along with Mr. and Mrs. Marion Armstrong of Ridgeway, were in the vehicle which stalled on the tracks. Occupants could hear the train coming, but did not have time to get out. Oh! Fortunately, the locomotive struck the front part of the car, causing it to skid around on the ice. The passengers jumped out and were unhurt, except for Mr. Meyer, who suffered a cut above his eye. Wowzers. That's scary. Norman Bredson, the son of Reverend and Mrs. Alfred Bredson, is reported to have entered the aviation service of the U.S. government in the defense program. 1950, 70 years ago. Wanted. Men to work with refrigeration and electrical repairs. Earn up to $210 a month while training. Interviews are scheduled in a meeting room at the Winneshiek Hotel next week. If under 21, bring both your parents. All right, 1960. 60 years ago, Hotel Winneshiek has purchased the Bucknell property at 106 East Water Street and the adjoining Lamb Estate property. Purchase price totaled $52,500. 5 new employees started working for Deco Products this week, pushing the total number of works here to 25. To handle the increased workloads, the company rented the main floor of the Ask building, formerly Wepler Grocery, on the corner of Washington and Main Streets. 1970, 50 years ago, 3 Decorah men, Reverend David Berg, Tom Evans, and Lowell Erdman, have been involved in a formation and planning of a new concept in law assessment and analysis in the state of Iowa. The program may result in sweeping changes in the state judicial system. Revision of the criminal code is the top priority, which could include more severe penalties for crimes against the person in comparison with crimes against property. Ken Berkey, veteran radio and sports announcer for our local radio station KDEC-1, Decorah, was honored at the Decorah Chamber of Commerce luncheon the other day. 1980, 40 years ago, Decorah Pet Hospital has opened for business here. Preventative pet health care and patient care is the goal of the new facility. 1990, 30 years ago, if a boy playing high school basketball in Iowa this season gets 4 personal fouls and 1 technical, he has fouled out of the game. This is a new rule from the National High School Sports Federation. The drive to buy snowmaking equipment for Decorah's Norski Runs downhill skiing facility has sputtered because donations are not tax deductible. The fund drive was launched last winter. Used equipment of this type could cost as much as $90,000. Let's see. 2020 years ago, students from the middle school recently visited the Northeast Iowa Community College cosmetology class and learned about manicures and other business practices. And 2010, 10 years ago, Luther College has released a new CD, Using Our Voice, featuring the choral music of Aurora, Luther's first-year women's chorus. And Decorah's Downtown Betterment Association is asking for support and expansion of the Norm Smith Plaza area in the downtown business district. That's going to be it for current events today. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you again next Friday.